Joe Biden is not up to this situation. Apparently last week he said, we got to put Donald Trump in the bullseye. And he said, oh yeah, well, I said bullseye, but I didn't say crosshairs. Just go away, you stupid old man.
Hi, all. Kinsey Schofield here. I am with everyone's favorite Kevin O'Sullivan. Kevin, I have people messaging me all the time asking when you're going to be back. You're the it guy on Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered.
I think we're the it people, Kinsey. You and me. What a team, eh?
I love it. So I wanted to talk to you. There's been so much that's happened, both royally and politically, since we last touched base on this channel. There was an assassination attempt of my potential president, my former president.
What happened? No, I mean, what a story! What a hell of a story. But let's do that in whatever order you want to do this. But we must talk about that extraordinary event.
Well, I want to talk about the king sending a letter to Donald Trump. But first of all, where were you when you found out that it happened? What was your first reaction?
It's coming back to me in a sort of haze of alcohol. I wasn't that drunk, but I'd been out on Saturday. No, it wasn't that bad. I'd just been out for dinner with my wife on a Saturday night. So we came back home reasonably early, as you do, and we had the TV on. And I'm a bit of a news junkie, so I don't watch normal programs. I just put news channels on. And it cropped up that suddenly, and I said to my wife, Henrietta, I said, oh my God, look at this. And I could not believe what I was seeing. And still, you watch that footage back again, you can watch it. I mean, how many times have we all seen it now, particularly people like you and me, Kinsey, people in the news business. I must have seen it, I'm not kidding you, 100 times. Every time I see it, it still shocks and amazes me. One of the most astonishing bits of footages I've ever seen in my life. And then, of course, devolving down to that iconic picture afterwards, the still frame of him punching the air with the security, Secret Service guys and women all around him. And I put on Twitter straight away, that is an image for the ages. That is an all-time classic image, and this is the picture that will win Donald Trump the election. It was like Iwo Jima. It had an extraordinary similarity to the soldiers raising the stars and stripes in Iwo Jima. And so the whole thing is, it's just, what's amazing about it is it's got everything. It's got this defiant, proud, dignified, courageous man, bleeding, punching the air, saying, fight, fight, fight. It's got the security agents with their sunglasses looking classic, trying to protect him. By the way, all too short to do that properly. And then, of course, against that beautiful blue sky, the Stars and Stripes flag. It was just the perfect picture. And the Democrats must have taken one look at that and said, do you know what? We might as well keep Joe, because if we put God Almighty up against Donald Trump now, he would still lose. Donald Trump is the next president. And frankly, I'm like most people. I don't know what you think about him. I was always attracted to him because I'm a journalist. He's a great story. There's something very funny about him. And I actually like quite a lot of his policies. But, you have to have your reservations about Donald Trump. But I saw him on Saturday, and my entire opinion of him changed. I'm impressed by him. He was incredibly impressive. What a man. What a man.
I mean, Meghan Markle could learn a lot from Donald Trump because, unrelated to what happened on Saturday, I covered him years ago, and I covered the 2016 election, but we had all of these stories where he pretended to be his own publicist, and he would ring into the newspapers and I've got a scoop for you, and there are recordings of him, I can't remember the name he used, but pretending to be this fake publicist, linking up. It was, so when you say Donald Trump is funny, that's where my mind goes. But on Saturday, I was so upset. I was especially upset because I seeing the video without audio. Once you hear it with audio, it just totally tears your soul out of your body. But I also have been reading Maureen Callahan's new book, Ask Not, The Kennedys and the Women They Destroyed. And in that book, they talk about the shooting of JFK, Jackie's reaction, sitting in the hospital alone, drenched in blood, and just like hours later handing a piece of his head to a doctor that walks past her. So you just think about worst case scenario, the conversation you and I could be having right now. And no matter what you think about the man, thank God this was not such a tragic situation, because quite frankly, the security wasn't good enough.
Oh no, I mean, that's extraordinary. Kimberly Cheetle, the head of the American Secret Service, has got lots of questions to answer. I mean, we don't probably want to go into this too closely at the moment, but incredibly, she's been on American television and was asked the obvious question. That roof that was 130 yards from where the president was, where Donald Trump was, why didn't you put agents on it? Why did you not protect that? She said, well, it's a health and safety issue because it was very slopey, it was slanted. I mean, really? If that woman does not lose her job, then America has become a country that I no longer recognize as the great country of America. She must be fired. And do you know what her big obsession is? Diversity, equality, and inclusivity. Her big project is to make sure that 30% of all secret agents are women.
Are short?
Yeah, no,
short?
This is serious. Yeah, this is the thing. And guess who got her the job? Guess who is also obsessed with DEI? Dr. Jill Biden. It's her big obsession.
President Jill Biden.
Yeah, President Jill Biden, Lady McBiden. She got Kimberly Cheetle the job. Now, Kimberly Cheetle has to go. And, I'm all for equality and for women getting the opportunities they deserve. I'm all for that. I'm not necessarily against diversity, but when it flies in the face of common sense and efficiency, it's just so frustrating. And the problem with Donald Trump after he was shot was that those agents, half of them were women, they were too short. They're supposed to tower over him. They're all up to here. That's why he was able to punch the air. Now, if that sniper was still in action, Donald Trump is dead because the secret agents are too short.
If you watch the Reagan attempt in 1981, one of the security guards comes behind him and almost tackles him like a football player. And that really can only happen if that person's taller than you. Reagan, a very tall, handsome actor, a very tall man.
Yeah.
So, I just think it's efficiency. I appreciate you using that word because that's really what it should all boil down to. Yeah,
these people are there to protect the lives of candidates, of presidents, of politicians, of the people they protect. And if you are choosing people who are too small, by the way, again, I don't want to be cruel about people who are overweight, but a lot of them didn't look to be in very good shape to me. So you've got unfit, short people doing a job they're not suitable for, they're not qualified for, except for in the wonderful world of diversity, equality, and inclusivity, where we'll give this job to, the fat, short lady. I mean, it's more than unbelievable. It's infuriating, and it is endangering the lives of people. That woman, Kimberly Cheetle, has to go, and even more questions have to be asked of Dr. Jill Biden. And by the way, going back to your point about the number of presidents and presidential candidates over the years who've been shot, what did Joe Biden say afterwards, addressing the nation? This kind of political violence is just unheard of in the United States. Really? You tell that to Abraham Lincoln. You tell that to JFK. You tell that to Ronald Reagan. You tell that to Roosevelt, and so on and so forth. The list
when JFK's nephew is currently running for RFK Jr. lost his father and his uncle to political violence.
Yeah, exactly. So once again, Joe Biden just emerges from this near catastrophe. If Donald Trump had been shot, it would have had awful ramifications for American democracy, for Western democracy. It would have sent shockwaves through the world. Thank God that guy missed and only hit his ear. But Joe Biden is not up to this situation. Do you know the way I see it now? By the way, moving on, what about that thing when he said, apparently last week, he said, we got to put Donald Trump in the bullseye. And he said, oh yeah, well, I said bullseye, but I didn't say crosshairs. Just go away, you stupid old man. This is getting ridiculous. And here's the deal. What is quite clear to me, bearing in mind, we're talking just towards the end of this astonishing, almost spiritual Republican convention in Milwaukee. I mean, my God, you couldn't have written it in the stars. It's been just mesmerizing to see. In 3 weeks' time, almost less than 3 weeks, you've got the Democrat convention. Frankly, Kinsey, I don't think the Democrats have got time now to replace Biden, and I don't think they care anymore. They think we might as well have this bumbling old idiot because we're going to lose anyway. As I said earlier, if they put God Almighty in against Donald Trump now, he would lose. It's as simple as that. So I suspect that Biden will retain the ticket because the Democrats just don't care anymore because they know they're doomed to lose. And frankly, with that old man in charge and the way they've disgracefully covered up for his senility, they deserve their fate.
Yeah, it's interesting because you're seeing the first response to this change in tone. You know, Biden can't be as vicious anymore when it comes to Donald Trump. He has to change his rhetoric, especially when he talks about how the Republicans have to change their rhetoric. But he did a conference this week where he basically accused Donald Trump of racism, saying that something Donald Trump had said about black jobs. And Biden said in front of a group, I think this was an NAACP event, he said in front of the group, you know what a black job is? It's the vice president. You know what a black job is? It's the president of the United States, Barack Obama. And you're just thinking, this is not a card you're going to win. Donald Trump, I don't think anybody looks at Donald Trump and sees racist. You know, I just don't understand.
No. You see, the thing is, Kinsey, that the Democrats, led by Biden, who's an aggressive, angry old man, struggling to work out what day it is, have framed this campaign as this. Donald Trump is the Antichrist. Donald Trump is a threat to the very fundaments of American life. He is a threat to our democracy. It's not just a political campaign saying we don't like his policies. We think his policies are wrong for this country, which is what they ought to be doing. They're framing him as this embodiment of evil, who is a threat to the American dream, and he will turn your lives into a nightmare. So everything Biden has done so far has been violent rhetoric. He's now trying to scale it back by saying, I didn't say crosshairs. Oh, well, that's all right then. He is absolutely stymied because of everything he's said so far. What he's got to do now is to turn the Democrat campaign, pathetic though it is, into a normal political campaign and say things like, he'll be bad for American workers. He'll be bad for prosperity among the middle classes. He'll look after the rich and not the poor, and all that Democrat claptrap they usually come out with, which is nothing wrong with it. That's their viewpoint. I don't agree with it.
I'd rather it be that tone versus if you're gay, we're gonna ship you out. If you're illegal, we're gonna ship you out. It's almost like their focus is to make us so scared and so hateful towards each other that we don't look at actual policies and how it affects our day-to-day life, and that just feels very nefarious.
I mean, the Democrats' campaign, led by, as I say, that angry old senile man Joe Biden, has been one of hate. We hate Donald Trump. You should hate this man. He tried to cause insurrection on Capitol Hill. He is a threat to your life. He's a threat to American democracy. That's not a normal political campaign. That's what the Democrats have been doing. And the assassination attempt, and they would have carried on, by the way, and they would have dialed up that rhetoric, but the assassination attempt has ruined all that. They cannot carry on like that. I don't think Joe Biden has got the intellect to manage to dial it down. He'll probably carry on saying the wrong things. But frankly, he's become a pathetic sideshow that no one's listening to anymore. And by the way, last point, Kinsey, you knew that Donald was emerging from this situation as an instant folk hero the moment Biden went on TV later that night and for the first time in his life called him Donald. Did you see that? Did you notice that? That's how bad this has been for the Democrats.
Well, just shifting really quickly, how do you think that the king addressed him? Because we found out earlier this week that the king wrote him a private letter. I guess he sent it through the embassy in Washington, D.C. They did not provide details, the palace, but I thought it was very kind of King Charles to reach out to Donald Trump to tell him that he was concerned about what happened.
Do you know what? I mean, I don't know what the king... Well, we know the king's politics are, shall we say, centre-leftish. You know, he's a sort of patrician, old-school Tory who wants everybody to be happy and all that. He's not a Trumpian type. But I think King Charles is... And it's the same as our new Prime Minister, left-wing King Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer reached out to Donald as well. I think it's the same as the way a lot of people are thinking, who instinctively used to think that man, you know, racist, awful, I really hate him. Suddenly, everything changed. You know, this guy nearly got killed. The decent thing is to reach out to him and say how relieved we are he didn't get shot, to extend our sympathy to Donald, his family, and indeed, don't forget, Donald Trump, I think, was impeccably behaved throughout that saga, because the first thing he did was to talk not of himself, but of that poor fire chief, Corrie, who got killed, and the two people who got seriously injured. And that's why, by the way, by all means, form conspiracy theories about how bad the Secret Service agents were. So bad that you might think they did it deliberately. I don't think they did. I just think they were terrible. But by all means, form a conspiracy theory about that. But do not start saying that there was some conspiracy based around this shooter, this 20-year-old spotty-faced loser who was the worst shot in his rifle club, as if Donald Trump said to him, okay, what I need you to do is you can hit my ear, but make sure you don't hit my head. I mean, that is nonsense, and that is an insult to the man who died protecting his family and the two others who are still fighting for their lives. So if you want to have conspiracy theories, make it about the Secret Service, not about the incident itself, because that is wrong. It's just wrong.
So we've seen a lot of King Charles this week. First of all, we saw him today. Do you feel like Keir Starmer is setting him up for failure when there are over 40, in the King's speech, over 40 initiatives Starmer is listing off? Are they capable of doing that in the next 12 months?
Well, it's a tradition here, you know, the way Britain works, strange country. So the sovereign, the monarch, used to be the Queen, of course, now the King, basically gives this speech as if it's all to do with him. So it's, my government will work to reform planning laws. My government will work to solve the migrant crisis. That'll be the day, by the way. And so on and so forth. So what we don't do here in Britain is blame the monarch. We know he doesn't write that speech. The government write the speech. He just has to read it. So I don't think anyone here would ever blame the monarch for the lousy government we've just been landed with. But I would imagine, you know, the King is a very intelligent man and he's very politically inclined. I bet he was looking at some of that stuff and saying, do I really have to say this? But the question, he doesn't have, you know, just so as everyone in America understands, he does not have a choice. He is commanded by the government to say exactly what they tell him to, and he has no say in it whatsoever. He is their servant, not the other way round, and yet the pageantry makes it look as if he's in charge, but he's not.
Oh, thank you so much for clarifying that. We did see the Queen and King kind of rush to safety earlier this week. We've just been talking about the Trump attempt. Are things heightened? Is the climate heightened now because of this Trump attempt internationally?
Yeah, the King and Queen, Charles and Camilla, went to the Channel Islands. These are small islands just off the coast of France, which are kind of part of Britain. They're not actually in the United Kingdom, but they're governed by us, although they have they speak French and English there, but they're basically British. And they're a famous tax exile. Very rich British people go and live there. They don't pay much tax there. So there's no need for me to live there anytime soon. But anyway, the King and Queen paid a regal visit to one of the islands called Jersey. Jersey's very famous for its cattle, its cows. It produces beautiful, creamy Jersey milk. It's very famous. So I'll just tell you this funny story before we get to the serious story. So the King and Queen go and they go, look, they show them these two, they're very pretty Jersey cows as well. You can look it up on YouTube, everyone, you can find it. So they go, look, Your Majesties, look, here's these two lovely Jersey cows. So they're standing there. They go, oh, aren't they wonderful, Camilla? And anyway, how can I put this? Basically, one of the cows was a guy, obviously. The other one was a girl. And the guy got at it. He leapt on top of the girl and started going at it. And so King Charles, obviously a seasoned he thought this is not going to look good in the paper. So he kind of shuffled off. And there's a guy standing in front of them, and you think, oh, look, the King and Queen have gone. Then the guy walks away, and Camilla's still standing there looking at them, roaring with laughter, which was very funny. It sort of sums them up. Nice little episode. But then, right after that, proving that the entire world is on edge after what happened to Donald Trump, a big security alert. We're not sure exactly what it was, but suddenly...
I think it was drones.
Yeah, there was a drone flying around, but suddenly Charles and Camilla are whisked off straight back to their hotel, in a big security. So people, oh my God, turned out to be absolutely nothing. You're right, it was just a tourist or a local trying to get some pictures with a drone. But it proves just how nervous the whole world is after what happened to Donald Trump.
Just somebody's fornicating cow cam. Yeah. They had to take it down that day. That's their YouTube channel really suffered that day.
Yeah. Do you know what? You know what though? So this has been a very serious few days, but it's great that things like that still happen to remind you that we can still have a laugh.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to wrap up with a little bit of Harry. Prince William, this is a story coming out of the New York Post. Ingrid Seward is saying he found it easier to cut ties with Prince Harry versus continually being annoyed with his baby brother. I feel like this is a no-brainer. She says William is sensitive, he likes structure and has, perseverance. He does not give up easily. But when it comes to Prince Harry, I think that it's almost harder to cut off somebody that you're so close to. I think that's also a display of perseverance. Like it's perseverance for your sanity.
Yeah. Do you know what? I mean, you're right. It's a really interesting story, that, and I think most of us can identify with it. Somebody or something that you're very emotionally involved in that keeps letting you down, keeps upsetting you, keeps making you furious, and you get really, really overwrought. Oh my God. And then you reach that moment. We've all been there where you go, you know what? Screw this. I am not investing any more emotion into this. I'm leaving it behind. It's better for me. And I think that's exactly what happened with William, who, as you quite rightly say, Kinsey, is a very sensitive soul. And he was very close to his brother. And I think he was heartbroken by the way Harry was behaving. He couldn't quite believe it, given their close bond, brothers in arms after the death of their mother. And suddenly, Harry is behaving in the way we all know that he behaved. And William got more and more upset, and then turned around and just cut the ties, just said, I can't take this anymore. I cannot have that man in my life anymore. And that's why I think that people say, oh, perhaps they'll mend the bridges in years to come. I don't think they ever will. Because when you get to a situation like this, the more years that progress, the less likely it is you're ever going to, kiss and make up. So I think we've seen the end of Harry and William. I appreciate, I understand what William did. I think most of us do. And it's very sad, but it is the way it is. And I just think Harry looks more and more lost in America now. I reckon every day in every way he wakes up with the sun streaking through the drapes of his Montecito mansion, and he thinks, "Oh my God, what have I done? What have I done?" I think he's ruined his life, but that's just me.
I can't help but agree. Yeah, I think Prince William made the right decision. Well, the Political Asylum with Kevin O'Sullivan is on tonight. Head over to Talk's YouTube channel. We're going to have another Prince Harry conversation, so hopefully our viewers will catch us talking about Spare paperback. Where is it? And Kevin, I'm so grateful for your time today. If you love Kevin and I chatting, make sure you subscribe to the channel.